There we go. All right. Well, thank you again for having us host this training for your office. In today's training, I'm just going to give you a nice overview of the system. I'll definitely point out some popular time-saving features that you'll want to take advantage of. And I'll also, I'll try and pause periodically to see if there's any questions out there, but in case I forget or at any time a question comes up, please feel free to unmute yourself and stop me and ask away. All right, here's the agenda. Everything we'll be going over today. I'm not going to bore you all and read everything on the screen here, but just again, a nice overview of how to use the system as a listing agent and a buyer agent. All the time-saving features it offers, and how it can also help you provide that high level of service to your clients. All right, real quick, we're going to walk through how to access your ShowingTime setup in Flex MLS. A lot of you already know this, but you would just go to the menu in Flex, scroll down a bit. We're under Daily Functions, so you can click on ShowingTime, and that'll log you right in. On the dashboard here, you're going to have a quick snapshot of all your showing and feedback activity. As an example, listing agents, you'll be able to quickly see here any outstanding appointments needing confirmation from you. And then one of the first things we like to do in our training is show you how to add those secure showing instructions to your listings, because this is such a huge time saver for listing agents. And to add your secure showing instructions, you're going to head over to Listing Setup, click on the desired listing here. That'll bring you to the listing worksheet. This is where you're going to configure any settings on the listing, add any contacts, co-listing agents, sellers, etc. And we're going to go through all of this a little bit later on in more detail, but right now I just want to focus on showing you how to add those showing instructions. I also want to point out that, of course, there's 3 appointment types which we'll talk about, and the default is always appointment required, which means when the showing agent goes to schedule, they'll need to wait for confirmation before they receive any showing instructions to show the property, which live a little bit further down here on the listing worksheet. It's 2 parts. You've got access information here, which includes the access details and alarm details, if there are some. For the access details, this is where you can select what kind of lockbox it is and put in the code information when prompted, or maybe who's going to be providing access to the property if it's a listing agent accompanied showing maybe. And then the second part of your secure showing instructions is going to be this free text box. This is where you can put in any helpful information for the showing agent. Please take off your shoes, maybe the location of the lockbox if it's unique. There's pets in the home. We also have this button here that you can click on to add any predefined notes. So basically just a laundry list of common notes that one might add to their showing instructions, a lot to do with pets in the home in there. And then, of course, the real time-saving benefit for listing agents here, once you add these showing instructions to your listing, every time you receive a showing request and you go to confirm that appointment, we're going to populate these instructions for you. You're not going to have to fill them in each time. And anytime you make changes to your listing worksheet here, we just want to remind you, you'll always be prompted at the top of the window to save those changes, so just make sure you do. Next, we'll walk through the 4 different ways that you can receive your communications from ShowingTime. And before I do that, I definitely want to point out something you'll want to be mindful of, and that is all of the communications that you receive from ShowingTime as a listing agent as well as a showing agent, they are for your eyes only. You're not going to want to forward them on to anyone for any reason. All those notifications, they contain not only the link to the appointment in question, so you can get complete up-to-date information on that appointment, but you're also going to be able to get into your full ShowingTime profile. And we do that for your convenience, so you don't have to stop what you're doing, open up another window, sign in again separately. You're already signed in, so you can perform other tasks as needed. So again, the big takeaway here, just remember not to forward those on. All your notifications are meant for you only. Email, of course, is one way you can receive your notifications. You also have 2-way text messaging available to you. Showing Voice is a third option. Showing Voice is an automated calling system. As an example, it'll call the listing agent, read them the details of that appointment request, and the listing agent will be able to hit 1 to confirm, 2 to repeat the message, 3 to decline the appointment, that kind of thing. And some agents really love Showing Voice as an additional way to be notified. Some don't, so you can easily turn off Showing Voice notifications in your agent profile, which we'll look at. But if you can carry out, declining or canceling or confirming the appointment via Showing Voice, or when they call you and you listen to the details, you can certainly hang up as well and then take action, online if you'd like. Also, ShowingTime phone numbers, they all come from the same ShowingTime calls, they all come from the same phone number, so you can go ahead and put that number in your contact list and easily identify those calls when they come in. Finally, push notifications from our mobile app. We're going to definitely walk through getting our mobile app installed, a highly recommended tools of the trade tool that we recommend all agents take advantage of. So many great features for you to stay productive on the go, and features that you can use out in the field. But our push notifications are really great as well, because unlike email, where you might have your notifications being blocked or going to spam, even text messages these days, your push notifications can't be blocked for any reason. So a great way to ensure you won't miss any of your notifications. All right, so those were the 4 different ways. Again, you can receive all your notifications from ShowingTime. And when we head over to your agent setup in a little bit, I'll show you how you can set your preferences there. But next, we're going to walk through scheduling appointments in FlexMLS. And we'll walk through scheduling appointments on listings that are set to the 3 different ways a listing agent can configure their showings. So there's appointment required, go and show, and view instructions only. And we'll talk about each one. So starting with, we're going to schedule a listing, a showing, on a listing set to appointment required. So when you're in FlexMLS, here's how to schedule an appointment on a listing. From your search results, you'll want to click on the listing number to bring it to that full report. And at the top of the window on the left, you'll have a ShowingTime button there. And then also on the right, a full ShowingTime link. So clicking on either of these is going to bring you to the first step in scheduling that appointment. And at the top of the window, as a buyer agent, you're going to see at a snapshot here the property you're scheduling on. And you'll also be able to see what appointment type the listing is set to. So we can see this listing is set to appointment required, which tells that buyer's agent they'll need to wait for confirmation. The bottom of the window houses your contact information as a buyer agent. You can actually maintain 2 different profiles in ShowingTime if you need to. One is a listing agent, one is a showing agent. And this is a sticky window, which means whatever you type in here last and whatever selections you make here last, that's going to go ahead and save for future once you hit either schedule a showing or add to showing cart. And a tip for you here, you can certainly add multiple email addresses if you'd like to. Just separate them with a comma and no spaces. For example, maybe you want to add your assistant. But to continue scheduling here, the next step, because this is an appointment required listing, is to choose an available date and time from the scheduling calendar. And what's happening on this calendar is anything in black is unavailable to show. Either the listing agent has set up some restrictions or the time has passed. Anything in gray is short notice. That means that's the suggested lead time that can be adjusted on the listing as needed. Buyer's agents will still be able to schedule during that window, but they'll also receive a little warning, kind of an alert, just letting them know this is short notice. They may not be able to get confirmed in time. And then these appointments on the calendar here, they don't have anything to do with the property that we're scheduling on. These are actually appointments that the showing agent already has confirmed or requested, and we do that for showing agents so they can see right up front what they already have going on and they don't overbook themselves. But to continue scheduling, we'll choose an available date and time from the calendar here. The next step is to fill in those appointment details, type of appointment. Here's a last minute. If you need to adjust what is the latest time you might be leaving the property, that's that setting here. Again, the latest time you might be leaving the property, not arriving. You can also optionally add your buyer's name here, which I highly recommend for many reasons. One, if your buyers are using our Home by ShowingTime consumer app, this is how you make all their appointments available to them in that app. And then finally, you have, also you can easily pull up a nice report in ShowingTime of, review all the appointments that, all the showings, all the homes you've shown them, all in one spot in a nice report. And then finally, a free text box here for you to put in any questions or comments for the listing agent representative. And that's important to note here. This is for the agent's eyes only. So if they have their seller set up to confirm appointments, their sellers won't see this. Just this is meant for agent to agent only communication. All right, and once you hit yes, that showing request is fired off to the listing side right away. And because the listing was set to appointment required, they're going to see this red triangle. That lets the showing agent know they're not yet confirmed. We have not sent them any showing instructions to show the property. They'll need to wait for that confirmation to include those. And then, of course, this property type of appointment required, as I said, it's always the default setting and popular with occupied homes where you and your sellers will, of course, want to review all the dates and times first. All right, and that showing request we just made, here's the showing request that goes out to the listing agent by email. So you can see all the details of that showing request right here in the body of the email message, with the exception of the showing agent information, but they'll see that on the next screen. So to take action on this request, you're going to hit that big blue action required button, which will pull up this window here, all the appointment details for you again. And now you'll see the name and contact information of that showing agent. So of course, if you're the kind of agent who likes to give that personal touch, ShowingTime doesn't take that away from you. It just allows you to have your, much like a voicemail that's left for you, where you might not have been left all the details of that appointment request or the information for the showing agent. You'll have all that in these online requests. And then, of course, you can pick up the phone and call them if you want to, learn more about their buyer or tell them more about the property before you confirm the appointment. You can also send them a message here, as you can see, with our messaging system. But once you're ready to confirm the appointment, you'll do that down at the bottom of the window. So like I mentioned, if you had filled in your showing instructions on the listing worksheet, they're going to be nice and pre-populated here for you. So you won't have to fill them in each time. It's also important to note that if anything special or unique is going on that particular day, you can update these instructions, and they'll only apply to this appointment that you're confirming. All right, so as you can see, the listing agent is able to confirm the appointment, propose a new time, or decline the appointment. So we're going to hit confirm appointment. And when we do that, confirmation notices are sent out to all parties right away. And this is the confirmation notice to the listing agent with all the details of that confirmed appointment. And then the confirmation notice to the showing agent. Of course, we're going to give them the access details now. They're going to have those secure showing instructions now that the listing side has confirmed that appointment. And this is also, of course, an added level of security, peace of mind for your sellers, because that first level of security is only agents who are active in the MLS can schedule using ShowingTime. And then that second layer of security is only those agents who have confirmed appointments with you are going to receive showing instructions to the property. All right, next is go and show. As a listing agent, you can also configure your listings as a go and show. Just like appointment required, buyer's agents will need to pick an available date and time to show the property. But once they do, those appointments will be confirmed automatically with no action on the listing agent's part. So this is popular with vacant homes on lockbox, as well as sellers, really flexible sellers who want to maximize the amount of showings they can receive. So we'll walk through this. Again, let's say as from the showing agent perspective, we click that schedule a showing link on a listing to schedule. And with a go and show, like I said, you're still going to see a calendar and choose a date and time and fill in those appointment details. But once you do, that appointment is confirmed. Confirmation notices are sent to all parties right away. And with a go and show, that showing agent is going to see that green circle with a check mark, letting them know their appointment is confirmed. So again, popular with vacant homes on lockbox, as well as if you've got some sellers who really want to maximize the number of showings that they can receive, there's lots of settings on the listing worksheet, the restrictions that we'll go over that you can just set up one time to meet their needs. All right, finally, there's view instructions only. And with this setting, agents aren't actually scheduling an appointment. This one's going to be, it's popular with vacant lot and vacant land, or if you need to point them to the showing agent, to maybe a property manager or anyone else that needs to set up the showing. And when you do it that way, you will have access to all the agents who have viewed your instructions so that you can go ahead and follow up on that interest. The system will also just send feedback requests out one time for you to those showing agents who view your instructions. Because with this setting, we don't actually know if an actual appointment occurred or not. So we just send that out one time. All right, and here's what it looks like from the showing agent perspective. Again, when they schedule on a listing, set to view instructions to schedule. Once they click schedule a single showing, again, they're not going to see a calendar or fill in any appointment details. They'll be presented with any showing instructions that you provided them that you entered on the listing worksheet. And they, of course, they can print these, or they can email the instructions to themselves as well. All right, so those were the 3 different ways that you can configure your listings as a listing agent and how to schedule individual appointments. Before I go on, we're going to take a look at creating a buyer tour next with ShowingCart. Before I go on, though, any questions on anything we've covered so far? Okay, I don't see any questions. So again, please feel free to stop me at any time if a question comes up. But next we'll walk through creating a buyer tour using ShowingCart. This is definitely one of our most popular features because it's you no longer have to spend 45 minutes to an hour painstakingly creating a buyer tour. You can do it in a matter of minutes with ShowingCart. So we'll walk through this step by step here in FlexMLS. So let's say you are on a particular listing. There's going to be a few different ways you can start building a buyer tour, but let's say you're on a particular listing that you want to add to a ShowingCart and start building that buyer tour. What you can do is click on that showing scheduling button or link that you would to schedule an individual showing, but instead you'll hit add to ShowingCart. And a tip for you here, if you had additional ShowingCarts created and saved, this button would look a little bit different because it would allow you to add that listing to an existing ShowingCart that you're already working on, or create a brand new one, which is what we're going to do. So the first step in creating that buyer tour is to choose a date for your tour, associate it to your buyer, and give it a description. Again, when you associate your showings and your buyer tours to your buyer, you're going to make it available to them in Home by ShowingTime. Your buyers are able to get access to their upcoming showings, buyer tours, and driving directions, all that good stuff. All right, so here's what the ShowingCart looks like. You can see that listing we were on was successfully added. And I want to show you the different ways you can add additional listings to your buyer tour. One is by MLS number, so you can certainly type them in or copy and paste them at the top of the window. And once you hit go, those will all be added for you. But you also have some really nice integration in FlexMLS, which allows you to select multiple properties right from your search results and add them all at once. And to do that, make those selections from your search results and then look to the top right-hand corner of the screen, those 3 dots, that ellipses icon there, where you can then select ShowingCart and add them all at once. All right, and then if you need to find a property by its address, you can use this Add Listing Stop button. Just enter in some or all of the address information and select the property when it pulls up in your results. And then to add any outside locations, such as meeting your clients at your office or a coffee shop in between, use that Add Other Stop button. And in this example, let's say I'll meet my clients at my office. So I'll go ahead and add my office as a stop to the tour. You can see it was just added to the bottom there. The next step, after you're done adding all the properties to your ShowingCart, these are the homes you're going to tour for the day. Step 2 is to get them in the order that you're going to go see them. And there's a few different ways that you can manually shuffle these around, and one that'll do all the work for you. But before I show you that, I do want to point out there's this nice large map below all the listings here to help you start building those driving directions. And you can also tap on this turn-by-turn directions button, which will just open up on the left-hand side and give you the time and the distance between each stop, which might be helpful when you start selecting your appointment times, and also a great way to quickly grab your mileage for the day. It'll give you the total mileage here. But first you need to get these in the order that you're going to go see them. So one way to manually move them around is to drag and drop. So for example, to set my office as the starting location, I can hold down my left mouse key, drag that location to the top and let go. You also have these numbers on the left-hand side. You can use those to manually shuffle them around. But to make things nice and easy, once you have that starting point set, just go ahead and click on Smart Route. That's going to do all the work for you. So it's going to create that logical order, of course, based on where they're located nearest to each other. Again, based off that starting point. So make sure you set that starting point and then hit Smart Route. All right, the third step here is to set your appointment times. And to do that, you'll just hit that Pick a Time button next to each property in your cart. That'll pop open this window here, fill in the appointment details and hit Save. Again, you'll do that for each property in your cart, fill in those appointment details, hit Save. You'll notice on the right-hand side, you'll be able to visually see all the appointment times that you selected, so you can spot all your overlapping times as well as any errors in case there's any corrections that you need to make. You can certainly do that. Also good to note that you can add any listing in the MLS to your buyer tour here, even if they are not enabled for ShowingTime. So if they're not enabled for ShowingTime, they're going to look like this second one from the bottom here. It's going to refer you to the MLS for the showing instructions, so you might have to pick up the phone and call them. But once you have that appointment confirmed, you can set your status to confirmed. All right, and once all your properties here, your appointments here are confirmed, you're ready to send this off to your buyer. Or I'm sorry, we have to submit these first. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, you're ready to submit these requests. Hit that Send Request button at the top right-hand corner. That's going to fire off all these appointment requests right away to the listing side. You'll notice in this example showing cart that we're working on, I had 2 go and show listings indicated by the green circle with a check mark. So those were confirmed instantly for me, but 2 appointment confirmed or appointment required listings that have not yet been confirmed. And then when you need to walk away from a showing cart, a buyer tour that you're working on, I do want to show you how you can get back into it. Just go to Showings in the left-hand menu, click on Showing Cart. That's going to pull up this nice calendar view for you, where you can then just click on the name of that buyer tour from the calendar. All right, now you're ready to send this off to your buyer. All the appointments are confirmed, and here's how you can send it to them. You can certainly print this, but we definitely recommend email. It's going to send a nice electronic version to your buyer that they can also open up on their mobile device and get driving directions. So once you click on this email envelope icon, you're going to see this window here. This allows you to tailor a nice message to them. You'll notice that it's sent in a link format. So this is a link that you can, copy and paste to someone else as well. Maybe for example, you want to send it to another agent in the office so they know where you're going to be at for the day for safety reasons. But here's what that buyer tour summary looks like. It's branded to you, of course, as their agent. All the properties you're going to see nice large photos with the driving directions. And there's also this little car icon on each property. So when your buyer pulls this up on their mobile device and they tap on that car icon, it's going to go ahead and pull up whatever the default mapping software is on their device and give them driving directions to your next stop. So a really nice feature if you guys are following each other for the day. All right, next we're going to look at ShowingTime messaging. Showing cart is always a lot of information, so I definitely remember to stop here. Is there any questions on showing cart or building a buyer tour that I can help with before I continue on? Okay, looks like we're good, but again, feel free to interrupt me at any time. So we'll talk about ShowingTime messaging next. ShowingTime messaging allows you to chat with any agent in the market as well as neighboring markets. It keeps all those conversations organized in one central location for you. You can chat with agents within the context of setting up an appointment or outside of setting up an appointment. And what's really great is you don't have to sit there and look through your emails and find anybody's contact information, look in the MLS, look them up, find their contact information. Anytime you just search for them they're going to be notified the way that they have their preferences set in ShowingTime, which could be text message, email, and or push notifications from our mobile app. All right, so you can access your messages from our mobile app as well as on the desktop, and I'll show you both. So from our mobile app, you'll always see this messages icon at the top right-hand corner of the screen. So it'll certainly indicate if you have any new messages. And it's really just like email. All your messages will be listed here, newest to oldest. Anything bolded is unread. And we try and make it nice and easy for you to locate an existing message thread. So several different ways that you can search for it. By listing address, maybe the agent's name, or the listing ID. And then to start a brand new conversation with an agent that you haven't chatted with yet in ShowingTime, you can hit that plus sign at the bottom of the window. That will allow you to search for them by name, and then just select them and send them a message. All right, and also your messages, you can access these on the desktop as well. Nice large screen for you. Just go to messages in the left-hand menu, and you can see it looks very similar to the mobile view. All your messages will be listed newest to oldest. Same search options here to locate an existing message thread that might be down a little deep, and then hit that plus sign to search for a new agent to chat with. All right, next we're going to go to your agent setup. If you've never gone here before, ShowingTime is designed to work right out of the box, but we definitely encourage you to visit your profile so you can set your own preferences. And to get there, you'll go to Edit Profile from the dashboard or click your name in the left-hand menu. So at the top here, if you need to add or swap out your photo, you can do so by clicking that white arrow. I also want to point out this calendar sync button. We're not going to go over this in detail, but it's a popular feature because it allows you to sync all of your showing appointments to your personal calendar. So whether that's Google, whether that's iCal, whether that's Outlook, very easy to set that up. But to upload your photo, just click on that white arrow and grab a photo from your computer. The top of the window is going to house your contact information as a listing agent. If you want to receive text messages, be able to confirm appointments by text and receive appointments by text, requests by text, make sure you opt in here. You've got to make sure the phone type is set to mobile phone and that you've opted in right here. If you scroll down a bit, here's where you're going to set your listing agent preferences. For example, you can set your own default appointment mode. You can set this to the types of properties that you list the most. So for example, if you list a lot of new construction or vacant homes, you can set your default to go and show. We have some new settings here that we introduced this year due to the COVID landscape to help agents navigate COVID here. Popular requests that we were able to get out. Oops, excuse me. Well, you know what? I'm not talking about this yet. Not for a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself again. Okay. Next here is your your notifications as a listing agent. So by default, we're going to select email and showing voice for you, but you can modify this as you wish. Anytime you make changes to your listing agent preferences, it's always going to prompt you to save those changes at the top of the window. So just make sure you do. And when you do, it's going to want to know if we should apply those changes to all of your existing active listings as well as new ones, or just new ones. So for example, if you changed your default appointment type from appointment required to go and show, should we apply that change to all your listings that are actively on the market now as well as new ones, or just new ones? All right, showing agent preferences are next. You have some nice settings in here as a showing agent that you'll want to check out that can save you those valuable clicks when you're scheduling and setting up your buyer tours, such as setting your own default type and length for the appointments that you schedule. All right, next we'll walk through how you can easily get our mobile app installed on your devices. Again, we highly recommend you take advantage of our mobile app. Many great features in there for you. And with ShowingTime for the MLS, there is no username or password. If you subscribe to one of our premium products, there is. You do have a username or password. But either way, no matter what showing solution you subscribe to, this is a great way to get yourself easily signed in. So what you'll do is from your agent profile under mobile app access, click Send Authentication link. And then go ahead and open up that email on the device that you'd like to install the app on. What you'll do is tap download the app. That'll bring you straight to where you need to go. It'll bring you right to the App Store. Go ahead and go through the steps of installing that app on your device. And then when you're done installing the mobile app, just don't try and sign into it. Come right back here to the same email that we sent you and tap on login. And that's going to go ahead and sign you right in, because that email was generated from your profile. You're not going to want to send that to anyone else, obviously, because it's going to allow people to log in as you. And it's authenticated to your profile, so it'll log you right in. And if you need to put the ShowingTime app on multiple devices, you can just go through these exact same steps. All right, and here's what the mobile app looks like. It syncs seamlessly with the desktop. And to open up the main menu, you're just going to hit those 3 lines at the top. That hamburger icon will always open up the menu for you here. So you can, of course, schedule showings on the go, view your buyer tours, confirm and decline appointments. Showing agents, you'll be able to very securely pull up those showing instructions, up-to-date showing instructions. If the listing agent made any changes to those showing instructions, you'll always get the most up-to-date instructions. View and reply to feedback right away. Also, there's features in here. If you're out touring with your buyer, you're able to quickly search for nearby homes and, of course, schedule those appointments on the go. If they want to see some more homes while you're out touring, schedule those properties while you're out and hopefully walk them right into the door. All right, listing setup is next. So this is the last main section that we'll go through. We're circling back to listing setup. This is where we started the day, where I showed you how to add your secure showing instructions. But now we'll walk through the rest of those listing level settings, including how to manage feedback and adding your sellers. So back to listing setup, we'll click on a listing here. All right, the first thing I want to show you is how you can create your own feedback templates to really get those quality responses and help you gain better insight and help you sell the home. To do that, first of all, on the listing worksheet, this is where you're going to select your template. But first, in order to create that feedback template, you'll head over to feedback in the left-hand menu and then click on form and design settings and then feedback form. So here's where you can create your own feedback templates. You can create as many as you need to. There really is no limit. You know, maybe one for a unique property, a certain property type, a certain area. And you're able to use multiple choice and or free text questions in those surveys. All right, let's get back to the listing worksheet. We're just going to start at the top and work our way down. So at the top of the window, excuse me, if you have other active showable properties, you'll just see a drop down there, which lets you toggle to them. You're able to set the appointment type at the individual listing level, of course. Here's where you're going to select what feedback template you want used for this listing. And then contacts are next. So here's where you can add any co-listing agents as well as your sellers. So first, talk about co-listing agents. A co-listing agent in ShowingTime, it's important to note, it could be a formal co-listing agent, but it could also be a team member. It could be an agent in the office who's covering for you while you're on vacation. It could be an assistant, basically anyone who's going to help you manage the appointments for that listing. All right, and then to add your sellers, you'll click on Add Owner Occupant and just fill in the name and contact information of your sellers here. As long as you have an email address filled in, once you hit save, that's going to trigger an invitation to them so that they can create their own seller account, their own account, access to Home by ShowingTime, get our full seller experience. And we'll look at that in just a minute here. But the next step, once you have added your co-listing agents and your sellers, this first column here is who's going to receive appointment requests, who's going to be able to confirm those appointments. That's that first column. So you can definitely give the power to your sellers to do this, but maybe they don't want to, maybe they're busy, they want you to handle everything. And if that's the case, you would just uncheck all these boxes in the first column. Second column, who's going to receive notifications of all the canceled and confirmed appointments. You can customize this as needed. And then that invitation that goes out to your seller, here's what it looks like, a nice professional invitation here that's branded to you, of course, as their agent. They just need to create essentially a username and a password which allows them to sign in online on the desktop, as well as using our mobile app. So here's what the Home by ShowingTime consumer experience looks like on the desktop. So you can see all that showing and feedback activity right at their fingertips. Buyers and sellers, or your buyers also, you can see under this section that says tours. Your buyers, again, when you schedule your appointments or set up your buyer tours and you associate those to them, they're going to have access to those upcoming showings and tours in their Home by ShowingTime consumer portal. Also, if you happen to have a seller who's selling more than one property, you'll notice that they can manage and view all the details for all the properties they're selling under that same seller account. Also, your sellers with Home by ShowingTime, they have their own profile, so they can go here and they can update their contact information and select how they want to receive their notifications. All right, back to the listing worksheet. Next up is appointment restrictions that we're going to talk about. I do want to point out that recently we introduced that minimum appointment length here. We've always had a maximum appointment length, but we found that this was a popular request, again, due to COVID and sellers not wanting overlapping appointments. So with the low inventory today, there were, showing agents who, the showing calendars were full, properties were booked with showings, but there was that 15-minute window that they were able to schedule and squeeze themselves into, which caused, and we know that's probably not enough time to show the property, so that caused folks to run into each other, which is what the sellers didn't want. So we introduced this minimum appointment length, which really helps with that. You can set it in increments of 15 minutes all the way up to 90 minutes, excuse me. Allow showing overlaps, allow scheduling overlaps. So you have three options here. The default is no exclusive appointment requests only, but if your seller wants to allow overlapping appointments, there's two other options for you. Yes, no need to inform the showing agents, or yes, please tell them ahead of time. And I want to show you what that looks like from the buyer agent perspective, depending on what setting you have selected there. So let's say you have, yes, please tell the showing agent ahead of time. You're allowing those overlapping appointments and you want the showing agents to know. So in this example, on the scheduling calendar, the showing agent is going to see, in this example, we have existing appointments that have already been requested and confirmed. So the showing agents will see that, and when they click on one of these time slots, they'll receive this pop-up letting them know this property allows overlapping showings. At least one other agent is showing the property at that time, and they can hit continue to go ahead and continue schedule, or select a different time if they'd like. If you have it set to allow overlapping appointments, but no need to inform the showing agents ahead of time, same example, we know we have existing appointments right here, but the showing agent won't know. All right, then finally, if you're not allowing overlapping appointments, exclusive appointments only. So same example, these appointments that we already have confirmed, the showing agent is going to see them blacked out on the calendar here. So they're not going to know if there's existing appointments, or I'm sorry, yeah, from their perspective, they're not going to know if there's existing appointments here or if the listing agent has set restrictions on the property. All right, also, if you are allowing overlapping appointments, we did also introduce the maximum number of scheduling overlaps that can occur, which was also a popular request to help the sellers control how many people will be in their home. So if they do want to allow overlapping appointments, but they only want to allow 2 showings to occur at the same time, 3 showings, you can now set that and have some control. So of course you can see here, no overlap limit, or 2 appointments, 3 appointments, all the way up to 10 can occur at the same time. So lots of control there to really take out and reduce the stress of showings for your sellers. And then of course, also buffer time. So if your sellers are not allowing overlapping appointments, and they also want to put a buffer time in between showings that can be scheduled, maybe that's to sanitize the property, or maybe they simply just want to avoid folks running into each other. You can also set buffer times between your appointments now. Again, no buffer time at all, or buffer times 15 minutes in 15-minute increments all the way up to 90 minutes. All right, and then finally, to add your individual or reoccurring restrictions, you would just click that Add New Showing Restriction button. In this example, we're doing some house painting. That's the reason at the top there. So you give it a reason for your knowledge. The second step is pick the duration of the restriction. So is this a timed restriction? Like in this example, it's just going to be from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Or you can select it's all day. And then the third step here is the time frame, the date frame that we should apply this restriction to, the date frame, excuse me. Is it a one-time restriction? As in this example, we're just doing house painting from 8 to 12 on February 13th. Or is it a repeating restriction? So for example, if Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., that's never going to be any good for your sellers. They have something going on every Sunday from 10 a.m. or sorry, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So you can select repeating restriction, start, end date, check on Sunday. That's the day of the week you're going to apply it to, and then save that restriction. All right, and finally on your listing worksheet, here's those secure showing instructions. Two parts here for you, your access details and alarm details, and that free text box that you can put in those details for your showing agents. All right, the listing activity report, definitely an invaluable tool to help make those conversations with your sellers easy, high level overview, and nice visual representation of all that showing and feedback activity. So once you go to the listing activity report here, here's the agent version that we're looking at. All your appointments summary at the top, all your appointments in a bar chart. You've got this colorful pie chart. This is a trend analysis of all the feedback that has come in. And then feedback responses are directly below that. We definitely do not publish feedback to your sellers by default. You'll be able to review it first. Whenever you receive showing feedback from a showing agent, whether it's by email, whether it's by push notification, or whether you're viewing it right here on the listing worksheet, you're always going to see that publish button, and that's how you make it available to your sellers. All right, in the last section here, again, this is the agent report that we're looking at. So it's going to have all the appointments for you in chronological order, including the buyer, the showing agent's information, this fourth column, did they have any questions or comments for you, and then have they provided feedback yet or not. And then the homeowner version that you can share with your sellers, we're going to look at that next. This is the version that's made available to them. Before I do that, I do want to point out a couple of, again, popular features for you right here that you can access from the listing activity report. One is add activity. So you can manually add activities to your listing activity report to really beef it up for your sellers. Let them know how hard you're working for them. So that can be open houses. It can be other activities such as advertising. You can manually add those. There's also this send notification feature, which allows you to just quickly and easily update all the agents who have shown your property within the last 180 days, as well as agents who have future appointments with you. You're able to quickly send them an update, any updates that might interest their buyer, such as a price change. And then also this attachments button. This is the last one I want to point out here. Another popular feature, it allows you to upload up to 10 attachments to the listing, and all your attachments will be automatically emailed to all the showing agents who request appointments with you. So maybe you have some disclosures you want sent to them. Maybe you have some COVID documentation. Again, any documents you upload here under attachments, they're going to be auto sent to the showing agents. All right, the sellers report here of the listing activity report, you can see it looks very similar to the agent version, but we're taking out any sensitive information, so they're not going to see any feedback that you haven't published to them. As well, that last section, the listing activity details, they're only going to see the appointments here and the dates and times. So we're, of course, removing all other buyer agent information. All right, and we are wrapping things up here. I do want to just quickly show you how to do some company branding within ShowingTime. You're able to upload your office logo and brand all the emails that go out for ShowingTime from ShowingTime, as well as the reports in here as well. So any office level user, you'll see this office setup tab. You'll be able to click on branding. And it's a two-step process. Click that white arrow to upload the logo from your computer, your company logo. Second step is to click this color picker button. That's going to allow you to set the trim color of the emails that go out to ShowingTime, so you can set that to your company colors. So again, upload the logo, set the trim color. You're all set, but you can also hit preview email in order to see exactly what that's going to look like. All right, and then finally, I just want to point you all to our help and training site. Great knowledge base for you here. Just go to help and support in the left-hand menu. You can search by any training topic. I mentioned calendar sync is popular, for example. If you typed calendar sync in there, it's going to give you some nice, easy instructions to set that up. And then if you scroll down a bit, here's how you can get a hold of our support team. They're available to you 7 days a week, and we do have phone support and email support. But here's the secret here and the best way to get the fastest help possible. If you use this chat with an expert button, it's the fastest way to get yourself quickly connected with a live support technician, not a robot or an iBot. And if they need to pick up the phone and call you, they certainly will. All right, well, that concludes our training for today. Thank you again so much for having us. Is there any questions or anything at all that I can help with? Any outstanding questions?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say thank you very much for clearing your slot to squeeze us in and make this presentation for us. I know I had a handful of people that were very interested and could not be on. And then obviously we had some people that just needed a refresher as well, and Denise, and yeah, she just chimed in on that. So I mean, I definitely learned some new things here, and I think we can all take some good notes out of this, and I'll be